Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, dear students. Most welcome to the class of corporate finance. Today we will discuss the bonds. Today is our seventh lecture. Dear students, I hope you have studied the valuation of bonds in the previous semesters. Maybe possible you have studied in business finance, in financial management, maybe possible in any other finance subject. But according to your course outline, which is provided by the university, today we have lecture of evaluation of bonds. Dear students, I have written here long-term security. Why I have written here long-term security? Because bonds are long-term securities. There are any other long-term securities such as stocks, common stocks, preferred stocks, and also debentures. These are all long-term securities. Dear students, bonds are the ways to raise funds for the corporations as well as for the governments. When corporations face with a particular project, then they need to raise funds for that particular project, so they issue bonds. Not only corporations, the governments also face with different projects such as construction of dams, schools, colleges, construction of universities, construction of roads. So for these projects, governments also need to raise funds from the market, from the customers, from the investors. So the governments also issue bonds to raise funds for their particular projects. So let me start with the very first topic, that is objective of the today's lecture. Today we will discuss these two topics: distinctions among valuation concepts and bond valuation. So let's start with the very first topic, that is what is value. First of all, going to the bonds valuation, we are supposed to know about the different values. First, the liquidation value. Liquidation value represents the amount of money that could be realized if an asset, a group of assets, is sold separately from its operating organization. Dear students, when any organization faced bankruptcy and they are not able to continue their business, so they sell their assets. This is called liquidation value. For example, LLC of PaperX, which is a US based corporation. This corporation operated successfully for 5 years. When it was established, it was successfully operated for 5 years. But due to several administrative mishandlings, it became financially unstable. And after a sudden drop in revenue, the company was no longer able to fulfill its financial commitments and was therefore declared bankrupt. So the bankruptcy court assigned 3 designated liquidators to oversee the process, and according to their analysis, the company's assets were sold. So this is called liquidation value. That at time, what is the value of liquidation of a corporation? Next is going concern value. Going concern value is opposite form of liquidation value. From the name it denotes, from the name it explains that going concern means it's operating. The amount of firm could be sold for as a continued operating business. Any asset that is sold for the purpose of operations of the business is called going concern value. Going concern value of a company is typically much higher than its liquidation value, because it includes intangible assets and customer loyalty as well. You- I before told you the liquidation value of a company will even be lower than the value of the company's tangible assets, because the company may have to sell off its tangible assets at a discount rate, because the company is liquidating all of its assets, such as unsold inventory, real estate of the corporation, vehicles of the corporation, patents of the corporation, intellectual property of the corporation, furniture and fixtures of the corporations. These are all sold in liquidation value. But in going concern value, any asset that is sold for the purpose of corporation's operations, to continue the operations of the corporation, it's called going concern value. Next, the book value. Book value represent either an asset or a firm. Asset means accounting value of an asset. Any asset that is accounted in the books, it's called assets value. That is assets cost minus its accumulated depreciation. Any asset that is purchased and accounted in the book, that is called asset book value of that asset. How these purchases are recorded in the books? By its cost minus accumulated depreciation. Next, the firm. Total assets minus total liabilities and preferred stocks is listed in the balance sheet. It is firm's book value. Firm's book value, all of the assets, total assets minus total liabilities and preferred stocks, which are listed on the balance sheet. These are the firm's total or book value. Clear? Is that understood? Next is the market value. Represent the market price at which an asset traded. Means current value in the market. Any asset that is traded in the market, it is called market value. For example, any bond that is traded currently by 1200, so 1200 is the market value of that asset. Or any machinery or any real estate or property is traded in the market, that price is called market value. Next is intrinsic value. Represent the price a security ought to have. It means must to have. Intrinsic value means internal value of the asset. Asset can be machinery, asset can be bonds or security. Mostly we are talking about the bonds, so the intrinsic value, the internal value of the bond, that is called intrinsic value. But based on all factors bearing on valuation, such as risk-free rate, such as risk premium, such as interest rates, such as inflation rates. These are all factors which a asset is bearing at time. So this is called intrinsic value. So now we are going to start the bond valuation. In bond valuation, we will discuss imported terms, types of bonds and valuation of bond. Imported terms, a bond. It's a imported terminology which is related to the bond. So what is bond? Bond is a long-term debt instrument. Before, from the start of the class, in the start of the slide, I have written there long-term security. So bond is a long-term security. It's a debt instrument. Debt instrument means that we issue bond and raise funds as a debt. They are fixed interest rate bonds issued by corporation or government. In the start, I told you, corporations also face with a specific with the particular project. For that purpose, they issue bonds and raise funds for themselves. As well as governments also face with a particular projects. So governments also raise funds for those particular projects. So they issue bonds and they raise funds for their projects. So next terminology related to the bond is maturity value. Maturity value is also called face value. Face value is a bonds is the stated value which is given by the government or by the corporation. In the case of US bond, the face value is usually $100. Most of the corporations issue the bonds maturity value with $1,000. Face value is $1,000. Every bond sold in the market by the $1,000. Clear? Next terminology is coupon rate, which is related to the bond. Coupon rate is stated rate of interest. Coupon rate is called interest rate. It is an interest, the annual interest payment divided by the bond's face value. So as we divide by the bond's face value, the coupon rate extracted. Next, the discounted rate or capitalization rate is dependent on the risk of the bond and the composed of the risk-free rate plus premium for risk. So if you remember, this discount rate was also used in the time value of money. It means that in that concept, I also told you that when we come from future to the present, we discount the amount. When we go from present to future, we compound the amount. So as we want to value the bond, so we must come from future to present. So coming from future to present, it means that we are discounting this bond. So discount rate must be given by the government or by the market. So this discount is formulated, extracted by the risk-free rate and plus the premium for the risk. So next terminology. So these were the terminologies related to the bonds. Now we will talk, we will discuss, we will study the different types of bonds. First, the perpetual bond is a bond that never matures. It has infinite life. Infinite life. Will never mature. There are some bonds which are issued and they are not redeemed. They have no redemption. They have no redemption. They are not redeemed back to the organization or by to the government. They are called perpetual bonds. How to formulate, how to calculate the perpetual bonds value? By this formula. V is equal to I divided by 1 plus KD whole is power by 1 plus I divided by 1 plus KD whole is power by 2 and so on till the infinite life. So if you remember, in the present value, in the time value of money, we studied that one concept that was present value annuities. So it is most like the present value annuities. So as these are perpetual bonds, the time is unlimited, the infinite has infinite life, so we cannot find out all the cash flows related to the perpetual bond. So we reduce the formula to the V is equal to I divided by KD. By this formula, we find out 1 year value of the bond because it has infinite life. We cannot find out all the value of the bond. So for this purpose, the formula is reduced to the V is equal to I divided by KD. This formula is summation of all the cash flows in the future. So future is unlimited, so therefore we reduce this formula to the V is equal to I divided by KD. Suppose bond P means perpetual. Any bond that is perpetual has a $1,000 face value or maturity value and provides an 8% coupon. The appropriate discount rate is 10%. What is the value of the perpetual bond? The time is unlimited. The time is infinite. Life is infinite of this bond. So how we calculate? I is equal to $1,000 multiplied by 8%. So 80 is the coupon rate. $80 are the coupon rate. So KD is given here. Its discount rate, that is 10%. So I divided by KD, I is found out, which is $80. $80 divided by 10%, which is 0.1, which becomes $800. So the value of the bond is $800. Value of the perpetual bond. Next is non-zero coupon paying bond, which is also called coupon bond. Simply, coupon bond or non-zero coupon paying bond is a bond with finite life. It is same like the perpetual bond, but its life is limited. Life of perpetual bond was unlimited, was infinite, but the life of non-zero coupon paying bond or coupon bond is finite life. So for the finite life, we can find out the whole value of the bond for all the future cash flows. What is the formula? V is equal to I divided by 1 plus KD, same like the perpetual bond, plus I divided by 1 plus KD, same like the perpetual bond. But one thing, remember, the one thing is increased in the coupon paying bond, that is maturity value is also discounted to the present, because it has finite life. It will be redeemed in some future time, and redemption value is also discounted, that is maturity value or face value. So face value is also discounted to the present. So summation of all the cash flows which are coupon rate which are discounted back to the present value, as well as the maturity value or the face value is also discounted to the present. So the whole formula for the non-zero coupon paying bond is summation of all the future cash flows plus maturity value or face value in time 1 with the total life of n. So for the all cash flows, we are supposed to write T. For the maturity value or for the face value, we must write total number of years by n. We show by n. So let's discuss an example. Bond C, mean coupon bond, has a 1000 face value and provides an 8% annual coupon rate for 4 years. The appropriate discount rate is 10%. What is the value of the coupon bond? You are supposed to solve this example by given formula. If you will not understand, then ask me through your WhatsApp group. Next is zero coupon bond. It's a bond that pays no interest. It is not related to the interest, but sells at a deep discount from its face value. It provides compensation to investors in the form of price appreciation. The form of price appreciation. It means that there is no interest. If there is no interest, it means there is no coupon, because coupon is equal to the interest. Before we studied coupon rate, any interest rate. So there is no interest in zero coupon bond, so there is no coupon. Therefore, its name is zero coupon bond. Then what will be the profit for the customer, for the investor? Why investor is going to receive or purchase this bond? Because there is no coupon, there is no interest. Then why an investor is going to purchase this? Because there is discount. There is discount. Discount means that if the face value of the bond is $1,000, the investor is going to purchase by $8. Maybe possible the organization is selling it by $800, by $900. When the investor redeem the bond back to the organization, so it will be purchased by the organization by its face value, that is 1,000. So investor purchased the bond from the government or from the corporation by $900 and redeemed back to the organization or to the government by $1,000. So the difference, which is $100, is profit for the investor. Therefore, the investor is keen to purchase this bond, and these bonds are the risk-free bonds. Mostly these bonds are risk-free bonds, and these bonds are mostly issued by the governments. These are also called government bonds. These are zero coupon bond. The formula for this bond is V is equal to maturity value divided by 1 plus KD whole power by N, because there are no cash flows. In the coupon bond, there were 1 plus I divided by 1 plus KD whole power by plus I divided by 1 plus KD whole power by 2 by 3 by 4. Why? Because there were cash flows, that were interest, that were coupon is paid to the investor. But here in zero coupon bond, there is no interest, no coupon, so there is no I divided by 1 plus KD. There is only maturity value divided by 1 plus KD whole power by N, because there is no coupon. So there is an example. You are also supposed to solve this example. The author of the book solved this example by the table. You are supposed to solve this example by given formula. Bond Z has a 1000 face value and a 30-year life. The appropriate discount rate is 10%. What is the value of the zero coupon bond? Simple, very simple. There is no coupon, so there is no discounting of cash flows, only the discounting of face value. So you easily discount the $1,000 divided by 1 plus KD. 1 plus KD means 1 plus 10%. So 1.1. So $1,000 divided by 1.1 whole power by 30. So this is simple. $1,000 divided by 1.1 whole power by 30. So this is the formula. So the book used, the slides are used, the solution is given to you is from the table of the book. You are supposed to solve this example by the given formula. Next, bond price and yield relationship. Discounted bond. The market required any discount bond, we discussed before. Discount bond, the market required rate of return exceeds the coupon rate. It means that the par value, the face value is greater than the present value. Present value, the bond is purchased on the spot. Now you are going to purchase a bond by discount. So this discount rate is less than the face value. Simple. It's a common sense. You are going to purchase a bond by 900 and going to sell back by $1,000. So the face value is greater than present value. Next, premium bond. The coupon rate exceeds the market required rate of return. It means that present value is greater than par value or face value. Market value is greater than face value. Why? The investors are provided by the premium. Premium is given to them. That is coupon rate. The next is par bond. The coupon rate equals the market required rate of return. Means required rate of return or present value is equal to the face value. Present value is equal to the face value, and they are also provided by the coupon rate. Clear? Next, when interest rate rise, then the market required rate of return rise and bond price will fall. It means that if the interest rate rises, then the required rate of return on that bond will also rise. How rise? You purchase a bond by $1,000. Interest rate is raised. Your return is increased. As your return increase, it means that the price of bond fall. Why? Because interest rate is increased. Your return is increased. Assume that the required rate of return on a 15-year 10% coupon paying bond rises from 10 to 12. What happens to the bond price? The bond price will decrease. Bond price will decrease. You can see has fallen from 1000 to 864 if the interest rate goes from 10 to 12%, because We divide I by 1 plus KD. As I divided by 1 plus KD, the bond price will decrease from $1,000 to the 864. Next, when interest rate, it's vice versa of that. It's opposite form of that. When interest rate fall, then the market required rate of return fall and bond price will rise. Assume that the required rate of return on a 15 years 10% coupon paying bond falls from 10 to 8%. What happens to the bond price? The bond price will go from 1000 to 1200, maybe possible to 1300. So the bond price will rise. It's opposite form of the before slide. Next, the role of bond maturity. Why we use maturity in the bond? The longer the bond maturity, the greater the change in bond price for a given change in the market required rate of return. It means that as the time limit of a bond increases, the maturity time is increases, there is a greater change in the bond price. Bond price will be decreased. It is the role of bond maturity value. Maturity, and there also be change in market required rate of return. It means your return will be increased. Why? Because the maturity of the bond is also increased. This is the role of bond maturity. Thank you so much. This was your today's lecture. The other concepts related to the bonds will be discussed in the lecture 8. For now, it's enough for you. Maybe possible you have got, you understood all the terminologies related to the bonds. I hope you got the message of the all of the terminologies related to the bonds. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Have a nice time.